Hello, everyone, and welcome to Young Engineers of Today. Um, my name is Thomas DeToy. Just to introduce myself, I've been going to UNC Chapel Hill for a couple of years now. This will be the start of my third year of teaching Young Engineers of Today. And it's always really exciting. It's a lot of fun. We get to do a lot of fun stuff throughout this semester. Always kind of an adventure. With me, I've got Mr. Dubik. Hello, Andrew. How's it going?
Hey, Andrew, I hope he's doing well. Hey, Tom. This is Mr. Dubik, Tom Dubik, and want to wish you all excited that you're here. It's really good that you come to this because then when you come to lab next week, we started knocking out some things. So, for example, it's great if you're, by being here tonight, we'll have you install Inkscape and X11 to get Quartz, called Quartz, to run it on a Mac. On a Windows, you won't need to do it, and we'll have those details. I don't want to get that up. But it's really important if you come to these webinars. So when we get to the lab, you already have better understand what we're trying to do in the lab, and you can get more fun things done in the lab. So really glad, really super excited that you're here. You're in really good hands with Mr. DeToy. He does a great job. For some of you, you're going to say, hey, well, wait a minute. I thought I saw the part of this last year. Well, for example, in Inkscape, we did do Inkscape last year. One, you need to see it again if you haven't seen it in a year. I can never remember anything from 3 weeks ago, never mind a year. But two, we're going to teach you some more advanced techniques. And in the Fab Lab itself, really exciting times. Got a second laser cutter. Now we have 4 vinyl cutters. Now we have the ability to make T-shirts or make hats, stickers on hats, and put vinyl on hats, which is really cool. 4 milling machines. So you've got a bunch of projects. You're going to make a robotic hand, robotic arms, like you would see in an industry. You are going to make really cool LED night lights using a laser cutter and NeoPixels. So again, I don't want to take all of Tom's time, but we're really excited to have you here. And Mr. DeToy, you want to take it away? Go for it.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, and welcome back, Jean-Marc. All right, so today's just sort of an introductory thing. We're going to spend some time talking about what we're doing this semester and who we are as young engineers, and kind of what we might expect of you. That sounds a little bit heavy, but that's not really where I'm going with it. But just sort of expectations on our side and on your side. Talk a little bit about what it means to be an engineer, things like that, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to start doing next week, right at the end. So anyway, yeah, engineering your future. That's what we call this. So do you like to take things apart? Do you find building a game more fun than playing the game? I mean, it's actually kind of one of the things that annoyed my parents a lot was I took a lot of things apart. And it is, this one's a little bit more tricky because I do like to do both. So I can't really say I necessarily find one more fun than the other. So we can probably expand this to be, would you find building a game as fun as playing a game? Because I do like video games. I can't really say no to them. Are you curious about how to use solder, how to use epoxy, how to repair a tent with needle and thread? Basically, using your hands and maybe something's not working in the house, you can fix it on your own. Maybe your Xbox controller, the A button doesn't work. You can find a way to crack it open and resolder the connection on the A button so that suddenly you have a working Xbox controller again. Because those things are like $60 a piece. Things like that. Do you enjoy math or science? Because I won't lie to you, there's a lot of math and a lot of science and engineering. So if you like those, already on the right foot. Do you read science fiction or fantasy? You're always wondering about how the world could be, things like that. I love science fiction. I read tons of science fiction, and always wonder why we aren't on Mars yet, on the moon, and mining things from asteroids, and why we don't have personal spacecraft zipping around. But I'm pretty sure that everybody's been asking themselves that for the last 40 years or so, because we were supposed to have it by now. Anyway, if you answered yes to any of these things, or all of them, well, welcome. You're among friends. We're all like-minded people. We all like engineering. We all like taking stuff apart, putting it back together, figuring out how to fix it, figuring out how it works. doing whatever we can in order to sort of learn more about the world around us. A lot of times using our hands. So you aren't alone. Now, expectations on your end. Things that you expect of us. What will we be doing this semester? You know, what's this upcoming semester going to look like? What are we going to be, you know, I don't know, coding? Are we going to be building a boat? What are we going to be doing? Well, we're going to, as before, we're going to spend a lot of time learning by doing. So we're going to be working with our head and our hands. There's going to be these lecture parts, which, hey Noah, how's it going? Don't worry, we're just doing like an introductory thing, so you haven't really missed a whole lot. We're going to spend a lot of time today talking about what we're going to go over in the semester and things like that. And just sort of, yeah, for sure, get sort of familiarized with this sort of format. Anyway, Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 p.m. You're going to be here, listen to me talk your head off. And there are going to be parts that, you know, we're going to do stuff alongside, you know, the lecture and things like that. So it's not just going to be me constantly being like, yeah, so anyway, the engineering is kind of an interesting concept because you get to do engineering. Although there will be times where I'm going to be lecturing at you guys. We're going to try and minimize that and try and make it a little bit more interactive on this part. You will, however, also have the physical labs, which are very, very interactive. You're going to be building stuff and setting things on fire. Probably not. I shouldn't set unrealistic expectations, although maybe some minor fires, maybe some minor controlled fires. Things like that. You will work towards being a technology creator, not just a consumer of technology. That's a big thing. I mean, as the world becomes, you know, more interconnected, internet and smart devices and smart houses and eventually self-driving cars and technology has started to permeate everything. You know, it used to be like when I was your guys' age, you know, you go hang out with a friend over to their house and your parents wouldn't know until you got over there and they had their phone, you know, their landline hooked up in their house. And so you'd call your parents and they'd be like, oh, okay, I kind of figured since, you know, you didn't come straight home, that kind of thing. Nowadays, I guess let's test the virtual hand right now. By raising your virtual hand, tell me how many of you have a cell phone? So a few of you, a few of you. And so as a result of that, you know, you're kind of always connected to technology. You've always got a smartphone in your pocket that you're able to you know, play games on, and you're able to call your parents, and you're able to text your friends, and you're able to, you know, search for videos on YouTube and stuff like that. More and more these days, we're constantly sort of connected with technology in some fashion or another. We interact with it in some fashion or another, like almost every waking moment. So learning to be able to create this kind of technology as well is a very useful thing. It gives us a better understanding and a better appreciation for the technology that we use every day, the amount of effort that goes into making it and things like that, and again, the ability to maybe sort of tinker with it and fix it in case something goes wrong. It gives you the ability to contribute to this world of technology that we're sort of entering and becoming a part of. And it's a lot more interesting when you know how an iPhone works too, or you know, a Samsung Galaxy or whatever. I'm more of an Android guy, but I'm not going to discriminate. So anyway, the architecture of these classes. We're going to have these class meetings, which are we have the online portion, which is where you're going to be stuck with me for 1 hour twice a week. You're not going to get homework out of this, although sometimes I might ask you to do something in order to prep for the next class or something like that, or I might ask you to, I don't know, spend a little bit more time working on something, but it's never going to be like, spend a little bit more time working on this, otherwise you're going to get a 0. Like, you know, you're not going to get grades for these sorts of things. That's not the intention. The intention is to give you guys a taste of different forms of engineering and you know, garner an interest in it. It's not to test you on it. It's not to gauge how much you've learned, because that would kind of defeat the purpose. It would sort of suck the fun out of this. We hope that you guys take something out of this, but I would prefer that it's voluntary, so that it's something that is that you continue with. You know, if you gain that interest on your own, then you're much more likely to continue with it in the future. For that reason, similar reason, we're not going to have tests, again, because I'm not going to be sitting here going like, how much did you memorize from last week? No, not the point. We will, however, spend time creating a digital portfolio. And that will be something, it's basically a website that you're going to put some of your material on and stuff like that, stuff that you created throughout the semester. You'll be able to show that to friends and be like, look, I made this. You'll be able to show it to parents and stuff too. Maybe down the line you can just continue filling it with your material so you can see how much you've changed from one year to another, you know, how much your skills improved or whatever. Eventually you might be able to use it as like a digital resume if you're looking for a job and it's something that you're interested in, you know, whatever, who knows. Just spitballing ideas, throwing them out there. You will also have in-person lab sessions. So you'll have 1 2-hour lab every other week if you're in Charlotte, and Saturday labs are Saturday labs for those of you who are not in Charlotte or those who cannot otherwise come.
Tom, can I add something here, please?
Sure.
A couple of things real quick, folks, for some to join us later. I know you may have done a digital portfolio. We'll be able to update it this year. And so if you've done one before, we can improve it. So some of the things, again, we're going to, as I mentioned before, the Inkscape, you may have done a little bit, but we're going to do other projects in the labs you haven't done. This Thursday, we normally meet on Thursdays, every other Thursdays, or, you know, on Saturdays, once a month on a Saturday if you're in the Saturday program. This week only, this next week only, we're meeting on Tuesday. We'll send another email out. It's on the calendar. It's Tuesday because they have parents' night here at the school at the Fab Lab, so we literally can't be in here while there's 200 to 100, hundreds of other people in here. So it'll be just this Tuesday, but normally that's the only time lab is on a Tuesday. It's on a Thursday night otherwise. I just wanted to add that, Tom. Okay? So
that's good. That's good to know.
So that's next week. All right. I'm going to mute myself now.
All right. So yeah, there you go. So normally on Thursdays, however, next lab will be on Tuesday. That's actually great to know. Thank you. So what are we going to be going over this semester? This is sort of just a view of the kind of stuff that we're going to be covering. Building your own websites, so learning HTML and CSS and things like that, messing around with that kind of stuff. Engraving and vinyl cutting, making your own, like Mr. Dubik was saying, making your own stickers and designs and things like that. Soldering, always fun. I enjoy soldering. I've been able to use soldering a couple of times in my personal life as well. I fixed a bass guitar with soldering, and I fixed an old Super Nintendo cartridge as well, so that was save again. So there you go. If you wanted examples of being able to apply engineering in your everyday life, I knew nothing about soldering, and I was able to still do that kind of stuff. Laser cutter, like a vinyl cutter, except laser beams, which, as we all know, makes it infinitely cooler. Programming, we're going to be doing a fair amount of programming. That's sort of my domain of expertise, computer science at Chapel Hill. So I could just go on and on and on for days about programming, and sometimes I tend to ramble about it. So, but I'll keep that reasonable as well. I do get passionate about it though, and I like people to be as interested in programming as I am. Milling using another mill, so being able to create physical objects at that point, not just like stickers or cardboard, but like being able to cut stuff out of wood, being able to cut stuff out of, another mill, correct me if I'm wrong, but another mill can cut out of metals as well. Now that's not saying that you guys are necessarily going to do that, but that is the kind of thing another mill is. It's an automated mill. So
yes, you're going to be working with metal as you cut things, and we'll be using stickers. I will tell you right now, the stickers, not only going to make a sticker, but we're going to put them on baseball caps, which is a kind of cool, you'll be able to design your own custom cap.
See, there you go. I think that's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you have a favorite, I'll jump, again, I'm jumping in toward Tom's going crazy here as I do this to him.
No worries.
But I get, like Tom, I'm very passionate. We're really, I think programming is an integral part of engineering. And thinking like in engineering, if you really want to be a good programmer, you should learn how a computer works at the most basic level, at the lowest level you can as your career. We won't do that in middle school, but later in life, I really recommend that. If you find yourself in the programming, it'll make you a better programmer. But we're all passionate about doing this stuff. And so, yes, the other mill, we're going to mill. We haven't ever used that. You guys haven't gotten a chance. We're going to do that in the fall. And like I say, the stickers, you've done stickers some with us in the past. Now we're going to take that up to the next level. And I'm muting myself again.
No worries. But see, there you go. There you go. So there's a lot of stuff planned as far as the physical lab portion is concerned as well. You'll also be building a robotic arm. Awesome. And you'll be messing around with EV3 robotics. So you'll also, as you can see here, like it touches on a lot of different kinds of stuff. Building a robotic arm or messing with EV3 robotics. I'm not sure which part your sound glitched out on. You'll be doing a lot of stuff, essentially. You'll be covering a lot of topics in lab and things like that. Essentially, we want to sort of give you guys a broad experience with a lot of different things so that you can get it. Oh, yeah. Hopefully that should happen less this semester too, because I've upgraded my internet. I now have normal people internet instead of the peasant internet I used to have. So you'll definitely be hearing me a lot more consistently and a lot more clearly, at least from my end. Yeah, I know the feeling, and let me commiserate and say I'm sorry. Oh boy. Cheap internet is nice, but it's also not very nice. It's a good price to pay, but yeah. Let's not get stuck on that tangent. So we already did this a little bit. Let's just have everybody raise their hand just to make sure that this works out. So why doesn't everybody go ahead and raise the little hand button that they've got? Ooh, wow. Yeah. No, I was running at a little bit lower than 1 megabit per second when I was using my internet. All right. Well, it looks like I saw pretty much every hand go up and a couple of them pop back down. Yeah. Wanted to download something that was 12 gigs? Well, it'll be ready sometime tomorrow. All right. So the hand works. Excellent. Make sure you guys have registered for all the webinars. Now, if you ever missed one, I'm going to do my best to, make sure all of them are recorded and uploaded to YouTube in a timely manner. So like, the same night, stuff like that, or at the very least, the next morning, so that in case you do miss one or a couple or something like that, you should still be able to get onto YouTube, look at the videos, watch them, absorb all the stuff that we went over, and you'll be nice and caught up for next time around. I'll also try and include in the video descriptions and stuff like that the links, if we ever follow any links, like to download something during the webinar or whatever during the class. So we'll try and make that as easy as possible, so it's like you've never missed a class. Also, make sure you register on Edmodo. Create an account, we can give you a code so that you can sign up for the class, and that's actually an excellent way to keep in contact with me or Mr. Dubik or, whomever. That way we can give you guys up-to-date information, like, in case maybe a class needs to be postponed or you're having trouble registering for the webinar or something like that. You can let us know there, and we can keep in contact. I would recommend. Well, we can reserve a little bit of time at the end. I might end about 10 minutes early just to make sure that we can hand out the middle school code and stuff like that. I want to make sure I can get through all this material though. But you know, if you've got the code available, and you can still
Hey,
pick it.
Tom.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Tom, I don't mind if we don't get through that. I'd rather they got the code. I appreciate what you're saying there. But let's make sure they get the Edmodo code. Let's make sure they register on that and on Facebook.
Oh,
Let's
sure,
take our time. That's our first priority. All right. So I appreciate it. For Tom's got the inevitable task of lots of slides trying to cover in a short bit of time. You can blame me for that one, guys. And speaking of slides and everything, right now you have a handout. It's also been uploaded, so you can download that. So you have that later if you want to go back through your notes. You're happy to share those with other people as long as you always give Young Engineers of Today credit, okay?
So there you go. Yeah. So in the chat box, I put the code for the middle school Edmodo group. Go ahead and create an account. It'll ask you for a class code. You can use that. You should use that code, and then you'll be a part of the Young Engineers of Today middle school group. And that way, we can all keep in contact. And that should be good. And if you run into any issues with it, go ahead and raise your hand, and we can try and address that. I'll give you guys I don't know, let's say 3 or 4 minutes right now to get that set up.
That sounds like a plan. We really want you to get it addressed and signed up now, folks. We're going to be notifying you both through Edmodo and Facebook. Now, we'll always use Facebook, but I know there's some people that don't, so that's why we have the Edmodo code.
Yeah.
If there's weather, sometimes there might be. Sometimes, who knows? We bust a pipe here at the Fab Lab, and there's not a lab. It'll all go out in both places, so that way you know what's going on.
Yeah.
So let us know that you have it there. Let me go to the questions here.
Yes, Aiden. Go ahead and do that and get yourself set up in the group so that we can just get that out of the way right now. Yeah, sometimes crazy things happen. My first week of doing this, I was all set up and ready to go, and somebody crashed their car into the power pole right outside my place and knocked out my power for the day. Maybe about 10 minutes before the class started.
That's crazy when that happens. Also, too, as far as Facebook goes, make sure you notify your parents. Let your parents know you're using Edmodo. Folks, if we have any parents listening right now, Edmodo is extremely family-friendly. I'm very comfortable having kids on that. Facebook, I think that's a call at your family if you use Facebook or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Edmodo is sort of like LinkedIn, but for education purposes. It's very much the emphasis is more on discussion and groups and things like that, as opposed to Facebook, where it's very much about your own personal page and interacting with the other people that you know. The analogy worked better in my head. It started to get lost when I came out of my mouth, but that happens.
Hey, Tom,
Mm-hmm.
while we're doing this, let me tell you something, guys, as people waiting on Edmodo code, something we're doing, tie-in software and hardware is an interesting thing, and actually I'm going to get Tom, I'm going to talk to Tom, Mr. DeTroy here, and maybe have him write some code for us so it'll work. But we're using a program that allows you to, guys, in CAD, use DNA to make shapes and build levers and build simple boxes all out of DNA.
That's
it's
pretty
incredible. Cool. Now, but what's really cool is you upload it to a certain AutoCAD program, and then you can see it on a Unity game engine, which then we could then use with our Oculus Rift. So, Mr. DeTroy, as we're waiting for everybody to finish up, that's a project, remind me, I want to talk to you about getting you involved with us, because I think it would be really cool, and that's something we could do here in the spring. But you can design, and as we work on in the fall, but talk to you about getting you involved with that in the next few days, if you'd be interested.
Yeah, definitely. Carson, you're good. You can just keep the Edmodo, and if it says you're registered, Aiden, you are fine. Mhm.
And then kids, if you didn't do it, folks, go ahead while you're waiting on the Moto Code. You can download the PDF for tonight's. It'll probably be part of next Monday's webinar, to be honest with you, because there's so much to cover. But we got it for you.
All right, so let's at this point, let's go ahead and continue on. If you're still creating your account or whatever, that's fine. Just make sure to keep an eye out, I guess, on what's going on over on the screen. The next one is, have you created your Gmail account? So the Gmail account is useful. It's useful to have a Gmail account, a somewhat, sort of professional / personal Gmail account in some capacity that you can use for a million different things. Like, it's crazy. You can use Gmail for email. You can use Gmail for its Drive services. You can use Gmail for storing photos that you take. You can use. I mean, and that's technically all Google services. It's all under the umbrella of Google services. Gmail is just email. But once you create it, you create a Google account, which can be used for a bunch of different things. Perhaps most importantly, create a Gmail account, create your Google account, and you'll get access to Google, I believe they're called Pages. I can't remember right now. Anyway, your own
Google
website
Slides.
space.
Google Slides. Hey, Tom.
Yes.
I think they're talking about, there's Google Documents, but we're also going to be making a Google site.
Yeah,
So
Google
we need
Sites.
it for that. Again, kids, get approval by the parents. Make sure, parents, you got your kid's password. So that way there's never any confusion. If for some reason you need to email Mr. DeToy or myself, you email us at youngengineerstoday@gmail.com, again, Gmail. Make sure you include your parents in any email you ever send us. Okay?
Yes, that is
and
an
we'll
excellent
always
point.
respond to the parents involved. So we always do that. So everybody, we just want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah. So sign on to Edmodo using Google. It sounds like you already have a Google account then. I can give you my Gmail address. I mean, you can, but I would maybe just hold on to it. I can give, we can use Edmodo as a communication portal. There's not really any reason that I would need to have your, Gmail address. Certainly not right now.
I think that would be for us, for some other particulars for the lab or something that you would set. Post on Edmodo definitely first. We would really, Tom is right on that, really prefer you post it on that.
Yeah. And my parents don't let me have a Gmail. Will this be a problem? It will make using Google Sites a little bit more tricky because you need to have a Google account in order to be able to use Google Sites. But that is...
Well, maybe you can get a parent to let you during this lab use their Gmail for just this. But again, we'll talk. Maybe have your parents talk to us. We can talk about what you might do with that.
Exactly.
And if not, I certainly understand. No, you can still continue in the class or anything like that. Okay.
Yeah. It's not like we're gonna kick you out or anything like that. That's not the case. Certainly. And the final one is our YouTube channel, where we're going to be uploading all of these videos after the classes are complete. It might be easier to subscribe to them, or at least just keep an eye out for them. If you do subscribe to them, though, make sure your parents are okay with that. Talk to your parents about it. As always, that's just kind of like general rule, you know, if you do stuff on the internet, make sure your parents are cool with it, kind of a thing. Uh, so, you know, obviously that applies here as well. I personally will be, I mean, we can post the link to the YouTube videos on Facebook. I'm just going to be posting the videos directly to YouTube though, um, just so they're up there. And then, yeah, then you know, you can like us on Facebook if your parents approve, so that, um, or your parents can like us on Facebook so that they can keep up to date on what's going on. Yeah, we can spend some time doing that at the end of class, Liam, just to make sure that it's all good to go. Let's spend some time talking about what an engineer is. Shift gears a little bit. Talk less about what we're going to do throughout this semester, and we're going to talk about what exactly an engineer is, because that's always kind of an unclear thing. Surprisingly, you know, you'd think it's pretty straightforward, but apparently not. Also, this dude his head is backwards. Anyway, we'll go first with the official dictionary definition. Webster's dictionary defines engineering as the practical application of science and math, as in the design and construction of machines, vehicles, structures, roads, and systems. So like a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff. You know, you'd think about an engineer just making machines like factory machines or something. No, engineers do, there are different types of engineers, and they pretty much touch on just about every aspect of your life in some fashion or another. So it could be machines, it could be cars, it could be buildings, it could be the ways that all the buildings are laid out. It could be the corn. It could be, and that's not a joke when I say corn. It could be medicine, it could be code, it could be computers, it could be, um, you know, spacecraft, it could be just all kinds of different stuff. In essence, though, engineers use math and science to improve the world. So, yeah, basically, in its most boiled down form, engineers utilize mathematical knowledge and new, you know, advances in science and stuff like that, and turn them into applications on the world, or of the world around us. So what exactly makes a good engineer? What do you guys think? What do you guys think makes a good engineer? Knowledge. Okay. Okay. That is definitely important. Somebody who can think innovatively. All right. Oh, they're just being written down in a question box, Jacob. So don't worry about it. It's all text anyway. So I'm just reading this off for other people's benefit as well. Focus, creativity, innovatively. Yeah, no, that's totally a word. You're fine. Taking risks. Oh yeah, for sure. Smart, specialist mind or a special mind. Well, yeah. I mean, engineers need to be strong in math and science, and they need to be problem solvers who can show perseverance. Somebody who won't give up easily. Exactly. They need to be problem solvers who show perseverance. So there you go. And they need to be able to work as a team and communicate effectively. And this is one that always kind of slips past people. You know, you think about an engineer, like what do they need to be a good engineer? They need to be able to like think abstractly and think creatively and things like that. But it's actually incredibly important as an engineer to be able to work with other people and communicate. They need good internet. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, engineers definitely need to be strong in math and science. That's exactly how you do it, Carson. That's really the primary way that I communicate with you guys, is just you guys throw stuff into the question box. It's called a question box, but I mean, it's for more than just questions too. I mean, you can throw comments in there and stuff like that. But yeah, engineers need to be strong in math and science. There's a lot of studying that's done in college for an engineering major. I mean, there's a lot of studying that's done in college for a lot of majors, but certainly, yeah, engineering majors as well. Just so you guys know now. Are people able to see other people's comments in the question/chat box? In the chat box, yes, you do have the ability to send it to everybody, so everybody can see it. In the question box, those go directly to the people labeled as staff. So right now, they go to me and Mr. Dubik, but they don't go to the other participants in the class.
And the reason we do it this way, someone asked, Carson was saying, hey, can I just talk, or could we turn the audio on? Sometimes we'll raise your hand, but when there's a lot of people answering, we get a lot of reverb coming back, because you would hear it becomes this echo into a cave. It really sounds quite strange. Amusing for a moment, but it goes into annoying super fast. You know.
Yeah, pretty much. Where is the chat box? There's the tab for chat. It's probably minimized. Right now, you'll see one thing from me in it, though, and that's the middle school Edmodo code. But yeah, engineering is the application of math and science principles. Because of this, it is essential that engineers have a strong foundation in the two subjects. Yeah, I mean, because you're using the application of math and science. You got to be able to know how it works. It's kind of hard to use it if you don't know how it works. Can't build a rocket ship if you don't know how aerodynamics and things work like that. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Dubik. So yeah, it's important that you have a foundation, a strong foundation in those subjects.
Mr. Toy, I'm going to jump off now, get ready for the 8 o'clock webinar, just to make sure the attendance is up and right stuff's uploaded.
All right.
Be sure to get polls if you would, please. I got some poll questions. All right?
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, let me hang on one second. I just said that, but let me read out what the poll questions are here, what makes sense.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's probably only one you can really ask, so I'm not sure how good this is, but
It'll be a good test of the poll question system, though.
Yeah, no, that's right. Hey, you all take care. Look forward to seeing you next Tuesday, normally on Thursdays, or obviously that Saturday, too. I may see some people on Saturday or people not Thursday but Tuesday, just because of prior scale commitment Charlotte has made to the Fab Lab. Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to be making things. Be technology creators, not just consumers of this stuff. All right. Take care, all.
All right. See you in about 20 minutes.
Got it.
Yes, Jacob, the chat is separate from the question box. There should be you'll notice that you've got a few different areas. You might have like a dashboard as well. Probably not, no. You'll have a handouts tab. You'll have a questions tab. You'll have things like that. And one of them is going to be a chat tab, and you'll be able to expand that. Questions and chat are together. Oh, okay, so send chat to, if you click the drop-down menu, you've got all entire audience and then send question to staff. So if you click that drop-down menu and you have the option to send something to the entire audience, you can do it there. Still getting used to that because I have not really seen it from your guys' perspective before. It's always been from mine, which is slightly different. Do you see something that says chat is here? Yeah, okay. So is it in the same place where you've been putting all your questions? Okay, so yeah. So they are the same box. Underneath the actual area where you type, there might be a little drop-down menu where it says send question to staff. There might be one that says all, and that's how you switch between the two. Okay, if there isn't, then there isn't, no worries. I have the means to be able to send stuff back to people so they can see everything. And again, I can read stuff off from the question box and things like that too. So don't sweat it too much. For sure. Yes, so all engineers from bridge builders to chemical manufacturers need to study hard math or science class. That's definitely true. That is definitely a thing. To be fair, though, I wasn't exactly the strongest in math or science when I was first starting out in school. The first time I went to community college. I'll just say that now. All right, sounds good, Matthew. And again, if it's just the ability to send questions, that's okay too. We don't really tend to run into situations where one person in the class needs to send something to everybody else, that kind of thing. Well, we need to take notes. If so, when? Okay, so again, I'm never going to actually explicitly make you guys take notes or anything like that, because that's not really the point of this. More, I want to sort of garner this interest in you guys. So if you find something interesting enough, maybe take it upon yourself to take some notes and things like that. Maybe stuff that you might have a hard time remembering, take some notes on it or whatever. Keep in mind also that when these YouTube videos go up, you'll be able to watch them as many times as you'd like as well. So you can think of those kind of like your notes as well. But just, there's no real requirement, excuse me, to take notes. Need more coffee. But yeah, that's true. This doesn't mean you need to be a math or a science superstar. Different positions require different expertise, and it's true. Sometimes it won't matter as much. In some positions, it won't matter as much. They need to be able to work as a team and communicate effectively. And it's a famous example of a not great communicator, Dwight Schrute. Yep. So they need to be able to solve great problems. Engineers of different backgrounds must come together, combine their expertise. And it's true. You very rarely are large engineering problems, almost never are large engineering problems solved alone. More often than not, they're solved with a group of people all working together and communicating. In order for the team to be successful, you need to be able to not just know the answer, but to share it in a clear way that others will be able to understand. So, you might have the best design ever, but if somebody goes, okay, describe it to me, and you go, all right, so you take a thing and then you stick it onto the other thing and then you twist it and now you've got your answer. It's not really specific enough for people to be able to know what you're talking about. And so you might run into a situation where somebody goes, we're going to go with a different solution because that person was able to communicate it effectively. Now I know I can visualize what they're talking about. The whole classic, somebody suggests something, people go, huh, what, that's crazy, and then somebody else suggests the same thing, and everybody goes, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, and then the first person sitting there going that's what I was saying. You would run into situations like that if you couldn't communicate effectively, You might be able to suggest a really great solution, but if people don't know what you're talking about, it's not going to really help anybody. This is just a little cartoon that sort of talks about ways in which communication breaks down. So what the user asked for was basically a stick swing, Now the analyst saw it was a log swing on a broken branch, and how the system was designed with a lot of fail-safes. And the programmer wrote it with a lot of ugly, hacky things. What the user really wanted was just a regular old swing, and how it actually works is not terribly well at all. That's, I mean, you're going to have varying degrees of success in life with projects and things like that. But yeah, this is a thing that, yeah. This right here, what the user asked for and what the user really wanted. This is what I mean as far as communication is concerned. How the analyst saw it from versus what the user asked for. Again, communication. Not being able to effectively communicate what you'd like means that there are just going to be, greatly differing ideas of what the final product should be. They need to be problem solvers who show perseverance. And you've got a nice image macro here of the, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's the pedantic college professor. I'm just going to call him that. So engineers are generally presented with really big problems that they need to break down into manageable tasks. Oh, it's not anybody in particular. It's just I don't know who the dude is. I mean, obviously it's somebody, but I don't know who it is. It's just he's used for this particular meme of a difficult professor. Yes, dank memes, in fact. Yeah, for sure. Engineers are presented with huge problems that they need to break down into manageable tasks. They are technical puzzle solvers, and it's true. If you like solving puzzles, engineering is similar to it. That's what I always say that programming is. It's just solving a big puzzle where there are like a million different solutions to it. That is how I describe it all the time. I wanted to do this one thing. How do I go about doing that? Well, I need to figure out ways to explain it in ways that the computer can understand and break it down into steps that make sense and so on and so forth. All great problems seem impossible when you start. Engineers must learn to work hard throughout projects and persevere through setbacks. Oh, I apologize, I had to cough there. Take, for instance, landing on the moon. At the time, it seemed pretty impossible. And, we were just barely breaking the sound barrier. I do, in fact, have Steam. And far too many games on it. But yeah, at the time, they were just barely breaking the sound barrier. And what they needed to do is get out of our gravity well, out of the atmosphere, navigate through a vacuum, hit a moving target a 250,000 miles away, land on it, and bring them back into the atmosphere and everything. So when you talk about that, you go, whoa, that's crazy. But what they did is they did it in steps. They got somebody up high, they got somebody up higher, they got somebody into space, they got somebody to circle around the Earth, they got somebody to circle around the Earth in a larger vehicle, they got 2 people to circle around the Earth, they got 2 people to circle around the Earth in 2 different vehicles and to dock them together. They got, more comfortable with circling around the Earth, so they got somebody to circle around the moon and come back. Well, they got some buddies. And they got people to circle around the moon and send something down to it and come back. They got people to circle around the moon and land on it. Yeah, the ISS. That's another iterative sort of design. You create a whole bunch of different stuff and attach it together, and suddenly you have an International Space Station. But they needed to be able to work hard throughout the project and keep working despite the fact that sometimes things really didn't go well. But if this still sounds like something for you, what kind of jobs might you be looking at? Well, the thing is, there are a whole lot of different fields of engineering. You've got civil, the art of designing cities, mechanical, the art of making machines, electrical, the art of working with electronics or electricity. Chemical, the art of working with chemicals. Aerospace, spaceships, airplanes. Structural, building design, genetic, genes. Biomedical, plants and medicines. Computers. Software. Military, jets and tanks and howitzers and things like that. Nuclear reactors. Forensic, um, crime and things like that. Reverse, taking stuff apart. Environmental, the environment. Biomedical engineering is things like medicines. It's things like prosthetic arms. It's things like um, artificial kidneys. Like it's all having to do with biology and medicine. But specifically like medical applications. So like I said, like bionic, artificial arms and things like that. So don't think of engineering just as a guy in a hard hat, because there are a whole bunch of different sort of fields that you can get into if you're interested in engineering. And it might be that you're not interested in machine engineering, but you're interested in electrical engineering, or you're interested in civil engineering, or you're interested in, biomedical engineering, or you're interested in environmental engineering, that kind of stuff. So just because one might not apply to you doesn't mean that engineering is not for you. That's something that might hold off on that. I try and keep political situations out of things as much, although sometimes they kind of leak out. But yeah, I appreciate the question though. That is some thought-provoking stuff. It was a question about what I thought about Benghazi. Yeah. Um, median earnings by major group. Engineering with a bachelor's degree, median earnings of $75,000. Master's degree, median earnings of $99,000. This is a year. Computers and mathematics, 70,000, 89,000. Business, 60, 80. Health, 60, 80. Physical sciences, 59, 90. Yeah, these are definitely some nice figures. Like it's good money. I mean, it's good money. I think the most I've made before this was about $25,000 a year. Yeah, and imagine pulling home a paycheck every other week of $1,000. I mean, granted, $25,000 is not a whole lot of money, but it's not nothing either. Yeah, but it still means that's what I mean. Like in comparison, $75,000 is much more. And even in poverty, it was, or technical, below $20,000 and the like, you can still live decently comfortably, albeit cheaply. I just mean for your guys' sake, imagine receiving a paycheck every 2 weeks of $1,000. Now multiply that by 3, and that's the median wage for an engineering degree, a bachelor's. Yeah. Granted, I mean, your finances are going to be different at that point anyway, because you're probably also going to have, bills and things like that. But still, that's, yeah. Top 10 college majors that lead to high salaries. You got petroleum engineering, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, material science and engineering, aerospace, computer engineering, physics, applied mathematics, computer science, nuclear engineering, going anywhere from, what is that, like $40,000 to $160,000 a year, depending upon the major. Like, that's crazy. That's absolutely insane. Not terrible if you live alone. True. Quite nice, in fact. And also a high amount of job satisfaction for engineering as well. Computer science, 48%, 54%. I mean, that's actually a pretty high amount. It's always kind of elusive to find a job where a lot of people enjoy what they do with a large enough sample size. So 54%, it's very nice. We'll go ahead and skip down to the Inkscape stuff. How many of you already have Inkscape on your computer? Yeah, a couple of you. A couple of you who have already taken the class as well. Well, let's go ahead. Actually, that's an excellent question. GIMP and Inkscape are two different things. GIMP is a raster image editor, whereas Inkscape is a vector image editor. And the difference between the two I'll spend time explaining in the next class. But unfortunately, you would need Inkscape, but that's okay. Inkscape is pretty easy to download. So let's go ahead and I'll pull up Inkscape here and give you guys the link for the download. Super easy. Going into the chat box. For sure. Excuse me. Yes, because that's going to be the most recent stable version. So select your operating system, and for, oh, that's what you have? Okay, excellent. For Windows, I found I had the most luck with the MSI, although some people didn't, so they would, in that case, you'd probably want to go with the archive, 7Z. 32-bit or 64-bit? What operating system are you running, Jacob, excuse me. Windows 8s. Chances are 0.1. Okay, 64-bit. Yeah, that's in reference to basically the well, I'll just put it this way for now. Basically, 32-bit computers cannot have as much memory as 64-bit computers. 64-bit allows you to actually be able to place more physical RAM into your computer for reasons that I might explain at some point in the future. Running Windows 7, so which one do I get? I am not entirely sure. On the safe side, you can always get the 32-bit though, because 32-bit can run on 64-bit, just not the other way around. Typical or complete? Typical. Show of hands, how many of you are running on a Macintosh operating system? On a Macintosh operating system, sorry. Okay, so we got a couple of people. Download time is about 2 hours. Is that normal? It depends on your internet, and this webinar right now is probably taking up a fair amount of your bandwidth. So as it stands right now, that's normal. That's why we got started now, so it'll be ready for next week. Yeah, so it can really depend. Sometimes it takes up a huge amount of the pipeline. For those of you who are running the Macintosh operating system, you do need X quarts. Xquartz is, oops. Xquartz is a emulator for basically Windows and I believe it is Windows because I believe Linux runs through one. Anyway, Windows operating system sort of parameters and things like that. So you will need that in order to get started. If we can get the download started today, though, we can spend next Monday doing basically all the setup and stuff like that. So don't sweat it too much right now if you don't manage to get it all installed today. And then I believe it was Liam. Liam, I will spend some time tonight getting rid of that old email address so that you just have the correct one on Edmodo. At any rate, I apologize, but I must disconnect because I have a class right now. I have a class on, I do like Deus Ex. I played it I played the original Deus Ex on PC a long time ago and fell in love with the series. Okay, so that's the one I'm going to get rid of. All right, excellent. Yeah, so I always have a high school class which starts at 8 o'clock, so usually I'll try and start wrapping things up about 10 minutes beforehand. Today's obviously a special sort of situation because it's all introduction and everything like that. But anyway, at any rate, we'll meet again on Monday, same time, 7 o'clock, and we'll actually get started on our lessons. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today. We will talk again next week, and we'll get started on the lessons in earnest. Goodbye, everybody.